Hello and welcome to Night Shift 49 here for Deadlock. My name is Kalaris, joining you all for this lovely excursion once again. I've got the Dapper Yappers Dan. I've got Jason Kaplan at the end as well. Jason doesn't even like being called a Dapper Yapper, but we're ready for more Deadlock action. How are you feeling, Jason?
I'm confused. I think that might have been the nicest thing you said to me in my entire time of knowing you, which is about 14, actually over 14 years now, right? Because it was 2012. That I moved out to good old Germany. So yeah, too many years. I thought it was just, just the beginning. It was a nice start to our relationship. 12 years of time or 14 years, whatever. I can't remember the number, but I'm doing good, man. We had a recent patch come through. I got Dan by my side with no AI filtering whatsoever, looking as handsome as ever. But the glazing won't be here this time anymore, Dan, because I got shut down too many times. Eventually I learned, stop building you up, I gotta wait for it to come my way sometimes.
Happy to have Dan here as well, of course. You're still in the hotel, right? You're ready to rock, ready to roll.
Yeah, still in the hotel. It's lucky that the internet in Denmark, the free hotel Wi-Fi, actually works for these broadcasts. Last time I did the whole broadcast and it was totally fine.
That's impressive. I'm very impressed by that. I guess Denmark's just ahead of its time compared to the rest of all of this stuff going on. But yes, as Jason mentions, there's been patch changes. We're just yet another minor patch away from that MMR, that matchmaking change as a whole here, Jason. Everyone's looking forward to that one. But no, another minor patch is here. Ready to kind of shake things up a little bit. What have you thought of it so far?
I don't know, man. In my rank, it doesn't matter what happens in patches. It's not what we're going to see here in the night shift. My initiate, 17 rank that I got down there. I don't know, honestly. I think some pivotal changes, maybe like Spirit Burn could see some effects on the likes of Pocket. We've seen build it up quite a few times. We obviously had some hero changes as well. I honestly don't know, and maybe even the pros don't really fully know because it hasn't been too long since this has been out. It's been less than a day, right? And we saw last time we had a minor patch. Buff Enjoyers struggled to hold on to the title, and they struggled last week as well. So we'll see what's going to happen this week.
Yeah, little changes here and there. Obviously, North America had a ton of roster changes, which kind of, I was about to say kind of settled, last week, but not even really that, Dan. It's kind of been all over the place. EU's trying to be that cool, calm constant that you like to see here for Deadlock, and at least our teams have been able to stick around for the most part with most of their rosters.
Yeah. Still getting the whole kind of Abraham's Buff and Joys exchange, which I think, again, I like. The chaos is fun, but the continuity is the one I generally tend to prefer, and we'll get to see some more of it. And I am curious what the interpretation of the patches will be, given that there's quite a few. Again, it's just Yoshi must know that he's just massively memeing on people when he says a minor patch, and it's just I knew that it was gonna be immense, and it was.
Yeah, there's lots to talk about. We'll take a look at it later on here. Let's take a look at the bracket, though, firstly off, as we do have our EU games, and then later on we're going to have our NA matches. Of course, Leviathan was able to take down Silence, as Silence was able to make an appearance last week to be able to get things going. We've got Buff Enjoyers going up against Leviathan, and then they'll be playing off against Abraham's a little later on here. So we're kind of back to the big three here, Jason, for EU.
Yeah, it's not very often, it's been a long time since Buff Enjoyers actually did lose the throne over here in EU, but to see Silence as well take down Leviathan and put up, honestly, a closer match than I ever expected last week when they played in the best one against Abraham's, really going back and forth, even able to hold on with a 50k deficit as we're approaching the 30 to 35 minute mark. It was great to see, but again, going 0-2 unfortunately against Leviathan means Leviathan must have fixed some things going into this week, because it was quite a surprise to see them not qualify into the challenger match. But I think the question is for Buff Enjoyers, they're back to full power. This is no longer not weak Buff Enjoyers, not to hate on Mazaji at all, but Hoot's back. He's found his way out of the forest. He's found his PC, and I think he's ready to play.
Yeah, I'm super happy to see Hoot back on board here for Buff Enjoyers, because I think that was a little bit of a bit of a problem for them last week, of course, when it came to when it was all said and done. There was a few kind of subs here and there that kind of had some hindrance, as it were. North America, of course, had Snake sitting in for Braden, but at the same time, he looked pretty darn good as well. And later on, of course, Dan, we've got the North Americas going on, and Pulsar is here. This used to be the APAC roster. I remember Nightmare on StarCraft 2 playing for this team, but now they've got a full NA roster good to go on North America.
Yeah, it's definitely very good to see some of the more recognizable esports brands starting to get involved. I'm sure that there's gonna be like a tipping point where there'll be a bit of a gold rush, and some teams will be like, oh, we can also like pick up some other teams maybe for like cheaper before it's gonna get much more expensive as time goes on. So I'm wondering like when that's gonna happen. And I also sometimes do wonder if some of the like the top level teams, let's say the really big brands, if they have a bit of communication and that maybe we don't know about. And so if that's I sometimes I'm like, if let's say FaZe picks up a team or like 100 Thieves or something, does that mean that something's about to happen? Like
hey, I can confirm to you, Dan, I think I've said this on the show before, I have talked to a player and they were approached by Team Liquid over a year ago about making a team. There was a potential to see some NA players moving to EU to join the likes of another team. I don't want to like put anyone on blast. I don't know if it's necessarily fully public that it happened, but we would have seen some crazy potential rosters under the Team Liquid brand if that happened.
That's interesting, right? Because obviously we had that little foray in by Virtus Pro, and maybe they then felt, okay, maybe it's a little bit too early. How are we going to shake things up? But of course, what's never early is, of course, our Patreons. They are always on time, always ready to go, always when you need them. A huge thank you to everybody joining here for the night shift. Dan, I've got to come to you first. Who are you giving a big shout out to today?
I'm giving a big shout out to Thrill House in the $10 night shift, Chief, because I think today's going to be a bit thrilling. So yeah, it just caught my eye. I want to be thrilled.
Jason, what do you think?
Can I do something cheeky this week?
Okay.
Can I do two? Can I just do two? Because there's two that stand out right next to each other. Mm-hmm. Okay, first of all, big shout out to Goobin. That name is great. I think a Goober and Goober's Goobin potentially later on today when he does play with melee creeps. But also, I mean, right under that name, hey Jude.
Lovely.
It's just Jude.
It's just Jude.
I mean, I have two Brits. I was expecting a little bit more of a laugh there, but you guys kind of left me hanging here.
I'm so sorry. You wanted me to continue on the song, I suspect, but I'm not giving you that. I'm so sorry. I'm not a good singer.
I've never heard you sing. Ever.
No, maybe you've not.
No.
My wife would tell you that I'm a pretty good singer, and it almost happened at the wedding, so you almost did hear it, but never again. And I will give a shout out to the one, the only Chrisana that was on there as well, because always dropping the subs. I'm trying to bait maybe them out, but no. Anyway, doesn't matter. We have got ourselves the games coming up here in just a few moments time, but of course we have the patch notes. Are we going to take a look at those, Jason? Actually, just kind of a brief overview and see.
You don't need my permission. You're the host, Kalar, so you can do what you want. If you want patch notes, you just call for it, because Solomon Production's always waiting.
Summoning the patch notes. Let's talk about things, and then scroll down, and then maybe be annoying, and then maybe scroll back up again, and then scroll down and scroll back up. So Dan, what's caught your eye when it comes to the patch notes? I'll start with you first.
I think one of the bigger ones, I mean, it's kind of nice that they're trying to get a little buff on Crushing Fist, as that's right on the screen, because it's not really too popular of an item. Cursed Relic, obviously, getting a bit of a change as well. I think that's kind of interesting. And I think it makes it a bit more purchasable on more heroes. Echo Shot gets a bit of a nerf as well. I think one of the ones that I liked to see was how we saw the change to Tank Buster that can't be procced on the items, because I know that was like like that plus Mystic Shot was kind of like a little bit broken, so a lot of people were complaining about that one. So those are a few that come top of mind for me.
Okay, how about you, Jason?
I see so much potential to mess with production right now. Yeah, I think Silver. I think Silver there at the very bottom was really interesting. Obviously, some changes to the gun fall off, which is kind of important to note. We went straight past Silver. I think we forgot our ABCs here. Yeah. Oh, Silver's not even in there. Where's Silver at, bro?
Yeah, that's missing. That was.
Wait.
This is ridiculous.
So, when I grew up in the States, S came before V. But anyway, so obviously some changes to the gun fall off, making the harass a little bit more difficult in lane, means you have to get more aggressive and get in your faces. But Cloris, you were mentioning like Slam Fire as well. The extra damage to NPCs maybe can bring Silver into life of farming a bit more as well. There's the Crescenta 14 10 subs. Though I have to say Crescenta 14, you should probably get 14 every time, because then it's on brand for you. But thank you so much for your support every single week. I'm just kidding. But at the top, we also saw Spirit Burn was a really interesting change. Make production really break their mouse wheel here. They're going to find some way to do it automatically, I swear. The fact that it doesn't do an AoE explosion, and it's individual based now, and the cooldown is based on individuals. I wonder how that's going to work with certain heroes, or pretty much the only few heroes we really see it on. I think a Pocket immediately, Zan, and we've seen Pocket really come to life yet again.
Yeah, and I mean, the crazy thing is for Pocket as well, there was an Affliction DPS reduction as well as that, right? So technically speaking, there's little moves here and there that are going on. There's been some buffs here and there as well. But I'm curious to see, well, if anybody wants to go for Mo and Krill, because that would be very fun. I would enjoy the item usage during some of those combos. Dan, what do you think about that? Any of that?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think there's some potential. I'm sure that there's some interesting strats making Mo more of like even more of a pick character because of the way you can kind of like warp stone, or I guess with like good timing you could like warp stone in combo into Majestic Leaf, which would be so delightful to see.
Go on.
Perfect doorman. I wanted to stop here. I'm so sorry, Dad. I didn't hear a word you just said. I was so focused on messing with production to just get this perfectly framed. But there's a reason I bring it up, because Doorman was one of like the highly contested. Oh no, don't you do this to me, production. I saw you. Actually, it looks more framed. Perfect. Good job, production. Doorman was one of those bans that was like almost guaranteed every game. And we did start to see last week alone over in EU that it started to actually move away from the bans. Some other heroes got prioritized, like Billy, for instance, we talked a lot about as being like a guaranteed almost first pick coming on through. But to see like Doorman has some changes. The duration of the door, I think. So obviously, when we talk about with Doorman, we have to talk about his doors, because that's, I think, the most important part of him, and the way that he actually interacts with the entire map. Teams having to respect it. The fact that duration was reduced, but then increased back in tier 1, and then the range was reduced. I think that's interesting, because was it 2 weeks ago? I think it was maybe me and ZP casting. We saw buff enjoyers use the doors to just completely zone away Abrahams and have to give away control of their own jungle, because they know they did not want to enter that zone and then be kidnapped. And I think that's really interesting. Also, like the gun scaling was hit a little bit too, that it's weaker in the beginning and then scales a little bit more later on. So I wanted to stop here because I think I kind of hope or wonder, will we see a changing in bans or like priority when it comes to him? Also, Drifter has seen a massive uptick in play in last weeks.
Yeah, a little bit of a hit to his spirit scaling, as well as the tier 3 silence reduction here for Drifter. I am surprised, Jason, you didn't go whole hog with your potential troll. You would have been like, all right, let's check in with Yamato, and then let's check in with Apollo, and let's check in with Viscus, and let's check in with Billy. And it would have been an interesting time for production. But
I I like production. I want to abuse them a little bit.
Okay.
But they're the best in the biz, and I don't want them to disappear. So I have to keep them around here.
That is true. They are the best in the biz. I get to work with a lot of people, my friend, and I can only fully agree. They are lovely here. A little change in some cooldown reductions to, I think, all the supports across the board with their ults, but I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, Dan, right? Like Dynamo Singularity, a little bit of a helping hand. You got Kelvin's Dome, a bit of a helping hand, and Page, but I don't know if it's enough to really bring them in line.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I find it interesting that Celeste keeps getting just like small buffs of late. That's been kind of interesting. I wonder if Celeste is going to make more of an appearance. We could go down to Mirage as well, because
I like it.
Yeah. Mirage is interesting because I don't know if this is going to stop him from being still like super high priority. What do you guys think?
It's a big nerf, I feel. How about you, Jason?
I'm not fully sure, because it seems like the initial power of Scarabs was hit, but it becomes kind of like back to normal at tier 2. So you have to invest into it a little bit more if you want it to be back to the level. I mean, it definitely was a hit overall, because I don't think you want to level up Scarabs right away. I could be completely wrong. I don't touch Mirage ever since I had a really bad game with him. But obviously the lift duration on Dust Devil as well is like a little bit of a hit, but I don't think. Okay, well, I'm worried to give my opinion now, because Kalar's saying there's a big hit to Mirage makes me think we're not going to see him. But the fact that he was like highly prioritized of bans and first pick still, I don't think this is going to be enough to change that he still has like strong laning power and potential, and of course like the late game map presence out of him.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? Like, as much as it is a nerf in the direction of his power overall, I still think that global presence is something that is so valuable, especially with the Rift being the way it is, Dan. That is obviously a big factor. You can join that fight whenever you like, while still also being annoying elsewhere. So I think until maybe other heroes down the line, if they get introduced to the game, have that added, it's still a huge, unique selling point for him.
Can I throw something out there? Maybe get your opinion, Dan. For Mirage in particular, do you feel like his global presence became weaker over time in the game because people's movement got so much better and they're so much quicker to get around the map now?
I don't know. I think at the pro level, I think the macro possibilities are still really strong. I think just the ability for him to be able to pressure and then just immediately be in a fight. I think that's just really strong, and his 1v1 is still really strong, so he's able to kind of go toe to toe, I think, a little bit against and bully off like a Geist or anyone that's trying to go for that kind of hardcore solo farm, and then be a part of the fights and the gang still as well. So like, I don't know, I still feel like just there's so much, like Clark is saying, there's so much to that global presence that he still brings. So I think it's still just as good, personally.
All right, hype train.
Can we do one more?
Look at Viscous.
We do one more. Viscous.
Go on.
Moving away from Splatter to Puddle Punch, becoming more of like the damage dealer. We saw last week how much damage Splatter can do. It is crazy. So some constant hits to Splatter and constant buffs to Puddle Punch. Will we see an entire switch up in the build for Viscous? I mean, honestly, all you have to do is wait for North America, I would assume, because if Goober gets them, you're going to see the best build for sure.
I'm going to be honest, I played against a full Puddle Punch Viscous today, and I was not having a fun time because he was hitting every single Puddle Punch, and it was nauseating. But anyway, right, okay, that is it for the patch. We are done here. We've got some games to do. Yes, as I mentioned before, the hype train is now going. A huge thank you to the subscriptions coming in. I just saw Nikobi as well as Cabbage PhD coming on in as well, so thank you to those. All right, so let's take a look at our first rosters for our first match, our best of one, and it is going to be Buff Enjoyers coming on in. As you mentioned, Jason, Hoot's back in action. We're back at full strength.
Before we talk about Buff Enjoyers, Dan, you know how much I miss saying mayonnaise from last week from Silence? I miss it.
I don't know. You do?
Yeah, I do. That's
cool. I haven't thought about it once myself, but
really?
Wait, but you also
I've only been thinking about that.
Oh, was it ranch or mayonnaise that you took back from America when you?
Oh, every time ranch. Every time.
Okay. It's kind of like mayonnaise.
Every time.
Okay.
Ranch doesn't exist in Europe, and I don't know why. It's like one of the best dippings ever. But besides that, because I'm getting really hungry thinking about dipping pizza and ranch. Hoot's back, man. And not to like downplay Mazda G. I feel like he played pretty well within the team, but I think it is almost impossible for anyone in the scene to replace Hoot and what he does for Buff Enjoyers. He is so flexible. The role he plays and how he floats around the map, the impact he has ever since the beginning of the game to the end of the game is just unmatched. And I swear I turned my glazing from Dan over to him, but the Hoot is just ridiculous. And what he plays in this team, you can't replace that. You can't sub anyone in. D-Mob, don't care. Name anyone out there, and I will say no. You just cannot do what he does for this roster. And this roster has just been getting better and week in and week out as well. Like Vraic, I think for me has been one of the biggest standout players. I said this week in and week out. He's really stepped into his own and really kind of made a name for himself and a stalwart position on this team. And even Obikim, like we've seen him flex away from like pure supports to playing like Apollo last week, and he's had some crazy impact as well. He's played Drifter, though it was the Drifter special of Obikim. I'm so sorry for being mean last week, Obikim. But this team, like I feel like there's still so much potential across the board for everyone to still show us things we've never seen before and to have so much more improvements than we thought they could have.
Surprise, a lot of Thanos is in the chat to get things going for a good old Cosmeticals hero here for this one. I do wonder as well, Dan, when I look at it, last week for me really was the idea of this like Cosmetical versus Arzo's Geist, Lady Geist, and how that was impactful in some of those games. Do you think maybe Geist by the patch has been hit a little bit, or do you think we'll see more Geist this week, especially with Cosmetical looking as good as he did?
I could definitely see Geist still being played. I think Geist has been really solid at the top level of late, even though she kind of went through somewhat of a drought. But I feel like teams have really understood how to kind of integrate her into lineups now. And Cosmetical is one of the best in the business. I think Cosmetical is actually, I think it's kind of interesting because obviously plays with so many great players and players that were, I think, way more established from a namesake over him. But he has, I think, now suddenly become one of the maybe the greatest players in Europe. I think he's extraordinarily good and very flexible and always getting better. Like I feel like he's always getting better, so it's actually very scary. I might go so far as to say that Cosmetical might be the star player of the team over Hoot and Zergy, but it kind of depends a little bit. But I feel like it's getting there.
Yeah, there's so many strong names, and as you say, Cosmetical's looking fantastic as well. Also, a big shout out to Corsica giving us 10 subs as well over in the chat. Thank you very much for those here. Everyone down to support the night shift tonight. Yes, love it. All right, let's take a look at the other roster as well that is going to be going up against, as we will have Leviathan back, and yes, the Mo and Krills. All right, I need 6 Mo and Krill. No, I don't need that, but I would love to see a Mo and Krill throughout the day, Jason. But what do you think for Leviathan coming in here? As this is a roster we are so familiar with, tried and true. They're back again, back for the competition.
I don't want to say how I actually feel though. That's the problem. Is that okay, maybe I can frame it this way. Let me think. I think D-Mob's addition. Oh, how do I say this? I think his addition to the team, not him individually and not him skill based, it hasn't made the team better. Now, maybe I'm jumping the gun. Maybe it's just because it's still early days. I mean, Zergy had a tough time joining Loki W, then becoming Buff Enjoyers. But D-Mob has not been D-Mob since he's joined. Like Shark last week on Abraham's, that's Shark, man. Like he had a great series last week. But D-Mob has just not hit his stride. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the calling. I don't know if it's the role he's playing within the team. But I don't see him as like the number one. Well, I'd push him to down to number 2 because of Hoot player in Europe anymore. And he's not that consistent D-Mob, the Bulgarian beast anymore. And I don't know why. And I mean, Freemont's good overseas. Everyone on this team is good, but something's not clicking within the roster. Maybe that 2-0 that they had against Silence can help convince me when we see them playing against Buff Enjoyers here. But this hasn't been as scary of a roster as I thought it would be. And I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on that, Dan.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think it's fair to say. I do think it's also fair to say, you already made the point about it took Zergy a while to kind of get going. I think Zergy is also, he kind of knew the job that he had to do, and I think it was a bit more straightforward in terms of how his role was going to be needed to be played around the other pieces on that team. I think for D-Mob it's a little bit. I think things are a little bit. More dynamic, and I think the team overall are probably trying to figure out how best to make the best use of him, because he is extremely versatile. And I think this team, in role wise, although there's a lot of role players and we kind of associate a lot of these players with certain roles, it does feel like Leviathan as a squad is newer and less established than a Buff Enjoyers. So I feel like I'm still going to give them more time to kind of figure it out.
I find it an interesting take. I think it's cool to kind of see as well, even just like not a fully positive take around maybe a kind of roster move and things like that, Jason, because we don't have to be super positive about things. If you've seen something that you think is not exactly the way that they want to be doing things, but at the same time, right, these teams, like Leviathan at the moment, they've had to battle through quite a bit of adversity because EMEA is so stacked right now. So having to make these shifts and these moves and then rising back up to the occasion to fight against Buff Enjoyers and Abrahams, it's no small task, I think, Jason.
That's fair, but Leviathan gutted themselves. Like letting Psy and OCs go like that, like bringing D-Mov in, and then like the clashing that happened. Like the Leviathan were legitimate challengers. They were getting better. And then they have this roster shakeup. And again, I don't really know the full story behind it. I can pretend I know the full story behind it. But it's odd to me. But one thing that does worry me right now with Deadlock, though, is that if you want to be like a top tier player, I feel like there's just it's like a club at the top levels. It's like who and if you've been playing with these people, we see the same people being recycled over and over again. We're not seeing like new blood being brought into teams. I think like Vraic might be like the last person I can remember off the top of my head that got brought in that I didn't know who that was before and actually showed that he can play in this level and compete. So I think that's what's kind of happening over in EU is that, we're having major roster shuffles in North America, but there seems to be a bigger pool at the top. In EU, it seems very limited, and you kind of have to take what you can get if you're not willing to put in the time to bring someone else up in the scene that does have that potential.
All right, our Mo and Krill 1v1. How many items are they allowed? No, they're not allowed to use items here. It's just all punching, Dan.
Yes. We actually have we've got advanced technology. We've got Leviathan in the blue with Captain, and Buff Enjoyers have got Hoots, and Hoots currently getting absolutely smashed here on the rooftops. Hoot, man, it's not a good return. He was
still in the forest.
Oh no,
He's trying to run away.
Gonna fake him out, but it's not gonna work. Captain takes it down. So Leviathan picking up the Mo 1v1. Lovely stuff. I still can't wait to see until we have like Mo 1v1 in person at LAN. How we'll do it.
How do you do a 1v1 in person? Is this just a straight up boxing match now?
Exactly.
You guys have had so many ideas for it. You've got the lot of rock and sock and robots, Jason. You've got so many ideas for the Mo and Krill 1v1.
I mean, I don't know about you, Dan, but I don't want to have to go play like a best of 5 for $1 million and have like a black eye or something, you know, from doing like a 1v1. I don't know if that's going to work for me, but you know what? I mean, we could probably sell tickets for that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. All right, I'm excited for this draft here, Dan, because honestly, I really don't know exactly how the shakeup has gone here for the patch. But Doorman being banned out first, even though with those little debuffs here and there, and Mirage gone as well, so it's not too far off the beaten path.
Yeah. Billy in a first pick is kind of like another kind of run-of-the-mill thing we could expect, or Pocket. But that's the thing, Pocket with the Spirit Phone changes and some of the nerfs. That's kind of the thing that I'm the most curious about. Is that going to be undervalued now? Well, not undervalued, but lower value.
I mean, Dan, I saw in chat the second we had the Leviathan roster appear on screen, I saw people asking, "Where's the Empty Dreams Affliction copy pasta?" So I think Buff and Jurors are probably not too worried if Pocket does go the way of Leviathan, because unfortunately for Empty Dreams, he just was not him on Abraham's against Buff and Jurors in particular, which I still say is the best team in the world right now at playing against Pockets. But yeah, I don't really expect to be. I mean, the thing is, if it's you're kind of screwed if you do, and you're screwed if you don't for Leviathan, right? It's the same thing with Abraham's. Do you pick Pocket to deny it away from Cosmetical if you're not, even if you're not having the best track record on him or on them?
Well, Pocket comes in second pick. I thought Pocket was going to come first, but they kind of baited me there with the Infernus first. So we did get some slight buffs, right, to Calico there, but Calico, I think Calico's been an interesting one. Sometimes gets like a pretty high priority in the first 3, and sometimes not. So I'm kind of curious, whether like how that's going to look here for buff enjoyers. But I'm curious what the battle for the M1s will be. There we go. So Geist comes through, and that was the speculation. Was like, will Geist still be kind of the same? And I guess the answer is yes.
Yeah, the life drain change and slight malice change on the damage amp. It's a bit of a nerf, but I still think she has so much power behind her. I think it was a nerf slightly to Calico, right? It was the Ava slow as well, being a bit slower for C2 and stuff. But Mo and Krill is here, Dan. Oh, we're ready. We're ready.
Majestically, Magic Carpet, come on. I guess Magic Carpet doesn't really work though, right? Because it takes too long to proc after you activate.
Does it work? Can you straight up kidnap someone if you get like duration and you carpet on a combo, and you can take them for a Magic Carpet ride like Aladdin and Jasmine and Krill?
So romantic. Three people on the carpet. Lovely. It's weird. I think it's not just the kidnap capabilities that are available here, right? It's like all the other items. You could just combo someone and absolutely destroy them with a ton of spirit items as well. So like, I think it's quite terrifying, honestly. I'm very excited to see this.
The burrow buff is kind of nice too as well, where the cooldown like starts straight away. They have to wait until the end of the burrow. But Holiday and Marin Krill, so you got multiple ways to abduct people.
Full abduction. All right, next 2 picks, Paradox and Bebop. Let's go. It's not gonna happen.
I mean, you potentially might not be too far for the Bebop.
I can take whatever they throw at me.
I can see a Bebop coming in.
This is a super tanky. Oh my gosh, this is like Empty Dream's easiest game right now for affliction hits with 4 people that are like easy to grab.
But at the same time, does Buff Enjoyers just completely run at you and just not care and just kill you before anything happens? And of course, the Mina comes in.
There you go.
The Mina TF.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Mina's not a bad choice here to have someone that's like can stay towards the back when you have such a heavy front line. You're very slippery with the single line retreat. The silence also going to be really important to deal with Pocket too. If you can get the silence on him trying to move on into the fights. I honestly, I don't really even know who I favor so far. Honestly, I'm kind of liking both comps. I'm looking at Empty Dreams in particular. If he's on Pocket, you got to hit big afflictions, and Empty Dreams has struggled to do so against Buff Enjoyers week in and week out. But you have the potential. You have a combo to open things up. They have so much grab. I mean, a tether into a combo or vice versa into a lasso. You might even get to play the game here.
Surprised we haven't seen any focus on Apollo. Shriek had so much success with Apollo. Apollo hasn't really changed. Ivy comes in as the last pick for Buff Enjoyers. The Vindicta is really cool because I have seen people, trying to work Vindicta more into things, and I'm super curious. Leviathan, looking to show it as a last pick. I'm curious if last pick is a steal or not.
What do you think of the Vindicta last pick? 'Cause I feel like Mina's pretty good at being able to eventually deal with some of what Vindicta's bringing as well, Dan. Do you have any thoughts on the Vindicta?
I mean, I like Vindicta a lot, especially for some of the circle fights and so on. I think it's the stake is such a good ability to help deal with Abrams, Geist, Calico, potentially Billy. Like, there's a lot of, I think, good utility counterplay that exists there. And I think the snipe as well for Mina, like the burst damage, I think is particularly useful. I think Vindicta does make sense in terms of the damage output and the ways that the damage output can help to deal with buff and joys. I think you can get a lot of shred off of the abilities as well. What are you pointing at, Jason? The
it's not empty dreams. It's demon on pocket. Oh, okay, all right. Now I don't know where to put my channel points. I see 630k on Buff Enjoyers and a measly, what is that, like 10k on Leviathan? 51k? I'm breaking the bank. Okay, no. Nah, you guys keep predicting Buff Enjoyers. Nah, keep predicting Buff Enjoyers. Don't go Leviathan. Let me clean up all these points, all right? That's, I mean, if I'm criticizing Demov, if I'm gonna, be a hater for him, and I've been such a supporter for such a long time, this is the opportunity to prove me wrong here. Like, Pocket fits his wheelhouse perfectly. It takes the pressure away from Empty Dreams. If anyone's gonna know how to deal with Pocket, or to play Pocket against Buff Enjoyers, I feel like it's gonna be him. And my eyes are gonna be focused on him, because no one's gonna be looking at him when there's a Moen Kerr run at you, a Holiday run at you, and a Vindicta looking for stakes from long range. This is a spicy game one. I'm enjoying this, Dan.
The only thing I think that I like more from Buff Enjoyers is I think they will have a better ability to kind of tempo the game away.
All right. I'm excited for this draft. I'm excited for this game. It's time to get into our best of one. Buff Enjoyers against Leviathan. And this is going to be for all the marbles to get into that final here, Jason. I'm excited. I am pumped, especially with these drafts. I think that they're very contrasting drafts to get things rolling, Jason.
Mate, I am ready to go and get into this one. I do worry about something, though, Dan. The the delivery system, the drone out of Obi Kim. They're throwing Abrams deep into enemy territory. You can catch up Vindicta. You can get a catch onto, maybe even Furnace. Like, if you're playing backline for Leviathan, you're not safe. Phantom Strike and the IV airdrop, like, you are going to have a very tough time here to do much. And if you're not in the sky, guess what? You have an angry cat on the ground and an angry goat tag teaming against you.
Yeah, I do agree. I think it's kind of the point I was exiting the draft screen with, where I think like the tempo capacity for Buff Enjoyers is really nice. The way that you can kind of essentially just like really run people down. Billy, Abrams, lots of pursuit there. Calico as well, Ivy. You can really get on top of people. So I think that's going to be potentially problematic, because some of the Leviathan series are going to be a little bit, the Vindicta feels like could be quite susceptible to getting jumps, and I think Pocket as well is a bit harder, obviously. But I don't know. I like how Buff Enjoyers line up. I feel like Jason can probably take more control of the mid games, assuming that they can kind of come out of this early laning phase with the kind of snowball effect of being able to drop the first Guardian and then sort of start attacking into the other lanes.
Yeah, and I think Buff Enjoyers are going to have like a very scary early to mid game, or mid game, just because of how inherently beefy their team is going to be. Also, like, a lot of control, I would say, with like Stone Form, with Billy Ultimate, with like the Chain Gang, plus like Seismic Impact, plus shoulder charges. There's a lot of control they can do if they bring Leviathan into these team fights. And I feel like Leviathan, they almost depend on that pick. And if that pick gets denied by Buff Enjoyers, then I feel like their comp will kind of crumble in the mid game, where Buff Enjoyers for sure is going to play aggressive and look for catches in the jungle.
Yeah, that's totally where I see the game kind of being difficult, especially because I feel like for Buff Enjoyers, they can create so much space to get Geist farmed up whilst they're applying that pressure. I think that's like another really big benefit. But yeah, interesting stuff there actually from overseas. You can kind of keep an eye on the build. Mystic Burst first item. It's really interesting. I guess you do have a reasonable enough cooldown on the crows. I think you have to get to level 2, I think, to reduce the cooldown. I haven't played Vindicta in a while, but it's going to be interesting to see how that build develops.
Yeah, and obviously with like some of the item changes too, like for instance, D-Mob, will Spirit Burn still be a priority pickup for him when he gets like deeper into Pocket's kit? Will we get to that point as well? I mean, there's a lot of questions here on how this game can play out, but maybe something we can focus on here is lanes, because it's not very often I feel like we see Pocket in the mid lane anymore. A Pocket and a Holiday compared to an Ivy and a Geist. I mean, you can do some good poke with the barrels, with the barrages from range, the cape in and out. But one stone form, and you could have a tough time.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's really interesting. I can't wait to see how this actually plays out in practice here. In terms of the early laning phase, do you have any big favorites?
I want to say Leviathan because I'm looking at this Mo and Krill. I'm slightly like jaded by Mo and Krill, honestly. But like when you get that ultimate online, if you make that early game impact, you can have so much snowball potential in the game. But if you're not really getting much space created, not even space created, if you're not getting much activity with these ultimates every single time they're off cooldown, then it's like, why did you pick Mo and Krill at that point?
Yeah. And we're speaking of which, we're going to see Zergy get the pick onto Empty Dreams. But this lane looks like it's going to be kind of annoying to play up against. Billy Mina, definitely kind of nice. We've really talked a lot about the meta, I suppose, revolving around making sure that you got heroes that can really be powerful in the early lane. And I think you can really see why that's the case. Your trajectory needs to be really strong into the mid game, and you need to be competitive enough in the early game that you don't give initiative away with losing the Guardians first. So we got to improve velocity, might enter opening rounds after this Mystic Burst.
Can I go back to your previous topic really quickly? Because I think you bring up a good point. Because in my head, I was thinking it doesn't really feel like a lane power meta because of how like the mid game plays out with catches in the jungle. But the way to create space for that is by taking early Guardians. And we did see in quite a few games in EU last week, plenty of times where Guardians were taken like all three within like the first 7, 8, 9 minutes, and that created space for teams to then push up aggressively, deny jungle, look for those skirmishes. Oh my god! What happened? Irizumi getting sent down to mid boss here with a stone form. I don't know how you can walk after this. That has to be at least like 18 herniated discs.
Yes, that's the Goomba Stomp Deluxe. That's really fun to see. I gotta say the interactions there are so odd sometimes. I feel like Lash is more predictable when you can kind of like ground stomp someone out of the air, but it always feels like so weird. Like in terms of like it doesn't seem like you get a feel for it, but for me as a player, sometimes it doesn't make sense like when that's happening and when it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I mean that's kind of we're closed alpha, right? Oh, Nox Nostra coming on through, prevents any sort of combo of happening, but Captain's waited it out. So is Empty Dreams as well here. So obviously coming not up just yet as they're able to do get the early lead here for Buff and George from the kill they had on Empty Dreams before. And I think, maybe Soul Economy is something we have to look at here. We can't really talk about heroes and their power in lane at the moment when it feels like Buff and George do have a pretty significant lead, albeit 2K. But considering that lane in particular, that Zergy's at 4.1 already, that's a pretty damn good start, especially if you keep your distance and keep that pressure on against Mo.
Yeah, and also, you've got Geist for the late game strength, and okay, it's not the best start for cosmetical, but really Zergy can take over in that kind of mid game phase with where the roaming is more important, whilst the Geist is farming up. You get this crazy damage threat and lockdown threat, but yeah, looking at the left lane here, so a lot of pressure. There's a combo coming on through, and that's going to be highly beneficial to deal with Listic. Keep that pressure on, and seeing Zergy having a good start, but getting the pressure on him at this point in time, and so that's going to be a lot of tower damage as all the creeps start to crash in as well. So a very nice response, I think, there for Leviathan on otherwise a lane that's been troublesome.
I mean, this is what I was mentioning before, right? When you get this combo online, you have to make kills happen. And first combo of the game nets them a kill as well here on a lane that they kind of needed it to, and obviously should have been kind of expected for Buffenders, not wanting to give up too much control in that lane in general. Well, Weekend did rotate over with the airdrop, but obviously coming in a little bit too late here. So a good bounce back by Leviathan. Also overseas, he ends up getting kill 2 up to 5k, keeping things all square at 6k or 26k apiece. Not a bad little comeback here for Leviathan if they can continue to do so further into this game. And my eyes are just going to be glued to that Mo and Krill.
Yeah, and speaking of some of the starts that we're getting here, overseas richest player on the Vindicta, we do get the abduction there into the tower. Stonefall coming in for a little bit of a heal, but is it going to be enough? A couple good shots there from Captain, and that will sort that one out. But there comes the chain gang, and I don't think Holiday's getting away from this one. There we go. The club comes in, and Irizumi will fall. So all is well. Gets equalized there. Eye for an eye.
Yeah, but an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind here, Dan. That has no relation to this whatsoever. You just said eye for eye, and that's the first thing I thought of. His kills just continue to be traded on here. Captain again Another kill coming on through, this time not through combo. He's at 6.1k and a kill streak right now. 6.6k. I did not have my bingo card today that Mo and crew would be leading in souls in this game, but that's what we're seeing at the moment. And Captain, he's on fire.
On fire. Yeah, he's got the Torrent Pulse online as well. It's going to be really irritating, you know, just in your face. I mean, really, really cool. Honestly, I am looking forward to seeing full strength Mo. We got getting the roam though coming on through from Calico from Vrake. We'll be chasing Razumi away there, which is really nice pressure coming on in. Well, counter pressure, I suppose, because it was actually Razumi trying to be a bit cheeky in the enemy jungle. But here's that burrow. Again, the cooldown starts immediately in the burrow, which I think is a really nice way to have more uptime on it. Is this going to be a catch? 10 seconds away from the cooldown of Ombo. Might not need it. There we go. Kim gets taken out, and you can see who's really running the show. It's Captain. He's the Don.
It's the Mo show. Come on, let's be honest here. Like I said, Torment pulls, rebuttal, QSR on top of this. They have a 3k lead, but I will say this: like I said, people, you know, oh look at the prediction points. You can clean up some really good, you know, return on investment. And I was like, no, don't do that. I actually did put in a lot of points in the Leviathan here, so I'm a little bit skewed. But even though they're ahead by 3k. It doesn't matter. It's still Buff and George. It's still the best team in the world. There's a combo comes on through here to lock down Cosmetical, and he gets eliminated here by Captain. Who falls as well, and that's 2 kills going the way of Leviathans, who take themselves another Guardian as well and look to extend that lead even further. Come on, Leviathan. I got channel points to make here.
Oh my god. I mean, I feel like Captain's performance here really, I feel like there's this parity between the performance and the night shift skin. This guy is a gangster. He is the Don, and the power is the presence on these dives is really felt. Combo coming up at the right moment there to convert the double and get that mid control. And now you've got the roam from Leviathan as well, and being able to be on top of these urns as well as, you know, the the buffs as well as the urn coming in. Confuse myself.
It's fine. You've been working. You've been casting CS in the day, some night shift at night. You're a busy man. We're just happy to have you here, Dan, and always looking as handsome as ever.
Thank you, Jason. But wait, is this because you want a compliment back? I feel like we did this last time.
You know, I don't even care anymore.
Is that on for free?
I don't want any compliments from you unless they're real and you mean it.
That reverse psychology. I don't know. I feel like there's an angle. There's an angle somewhere.
Interesting to note, though, for Buffingers, we haven't touched on Zerg and Cosmetical. Look at like the heroes they're on. Like obviously we mentioned Zerg's on Mina, but I feel like Mina's mostly been a Cosmetical hero, and I know Cosmetical's played a lot of Geist in the past. There's a good little also comes through into Obi-Kim with the chain as well. Shiv's there, Fremont looking for the kill, and that should almost do it as well. Fremont gets another kill, up 4k. But yeah, a switch up between them. I mean, Zerg is playing obviously Mina quite well, but again, going to the depth of the hero pools that this team has is just ridiculous. And Brake looking to steal away the earn from the Mole. And the Mole Man's gonna lose it for now. Combo is coming up relatively soon, though. And the Earn Dunk will land. So Vrake, a good little save comes on through. Can he confirm all of these orbs, though? And a good parry. What is that? Ooh. How wet? The parry on the orbs gets the stun onto Vrake, and can Leviathan capitalize as a... Well, Affliction comes through, catches one. Sometimes all you need is one.
Escaping into the subway is Vrake. Is actually getting chased down, I think, by Fremont on the Shiv, so might struggle to survive. We'll see. But in the meantime, look at the... I mean, Captain is just absolutely ruthless, chasing down Obi-Kim. I feel like Obi-Kim will need a therapist after this one. It's been getting absolutely traumatized in pretty much every just all over the map, just very consistently. And the catch coming in onto Irazumi there. It's gonna be a nice kill in return for the sake of Buff Enjoyers, who did get the worst of all of that, I feel like. And maybe more kills to be had potentially, because we still have a pretty aggressive position for Listic, looking to chase down this kill onto Dimov, but looks like it's been given up at this point. Dimov will be able to escape and be safe. The map state is looking kind of interesting here, Jason. It feels kind of even, although Leviathan is starting to win more of these fights, and I think really you're seeing it's because of Captain's presence.
See, I will say this though, I'm glazing Leviathan quite hard. I want to maybe hold my thought here as Zergy's trying to hold his own. Combo comes on through yet again from the big man, and Zergy falls once again. Captain at 10k, Fremont at 11. The point I was trying to make, we've seen teams do exceptionally well when they pick Mo and Krill. But the second you ban or take away that Mo and Krill, can they maintain that level of play in the next games? And that's one thing I worry about for Leviathan if they do obviously win this series. Well, it's series is the best of one, and they still have quite a long ways to go, but yeah, Captain has been doing some serious work here. The whole team is really on point. And Zergy right now, like, and Listic are the two like standouts at the moment when it comes to economy.
I see ship.
We'll have to see how this one goes into this mid game with this advantage, especially with Freemok starting to really have such a good game on the Shiv. It really feels like all the momentum is with the Leviathan side, although we'll of course get the quick abduction there for Leviathan. It looks pretty nice here. You can see the barrels coming in as well. Lots of burst damage onto Hoot, who gets taken out of the fight. Listic trying to help here, but also gets removed as well. So it looks like for Leviathan, the momentum's going to continue off the back of Shiv. Able to get a 5 kill streak now, so looking quite dominant here. Still 3 players up here on this circle for now, so to see who's going to be able to take this one down. But still, Freemok is just running all over everybody at the moment. Cosmetical, Zergy need to be able to provide something here. The Nox Nostra over the top to try to even the balance.
Well, it looks like they're going to wait out this rift here and it will disappear away potentially. Time's almost up. The moment does make him escape here. Summa Captain's just not being dealt with, and Leviathan get all the kills and they get the... They did not get the rift. Wait, did they didn't get the rift. No, they did get the rift. Sorry. Oh my god, I got really confused there for a second. I was just so amazed at how the play we just saw. But Leviathan, man, 15,000 souls, 14 minutes in the lead. Is this Leviathan's week? Have they finally clicked? Did me calling them out earlier on today spark this play in them? No, obviously. They're just improving as a team.
Yeah, and that's, I think, some of the stuff we were kind of talking about in the draft, where we were saying, hey, you know, these guys... The rebuild here into Leviathan it's been a bit more of an ongoing project, trying to figure everything out, but they do have really quality players, so it's only a matter of time until they start to look better and better. And Gang, though, good catch onto Overseas. Really difficult for Vindicta, I think, to escape. If you get jumped as Overseas in this game, it's probably pretty over for you. A lot of skill in terms of the map awareness and the positioning that you need to have for Vindicta.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, again, for me, Buff Enjoyers, I don't think they were necessarily going to win the early to mid game. I mean, obviously, of the caliber of players they are, I think that it's very possible. But I think the later this game goes, the more punishing it's going to be for Leviathan, and for Overseas in particular, because you're going to have so much combo potential out of the Enjoyers and Buffs. But I do kind of worry, though, for Buff Enjoyers, like, something they've done so well is that mid game in general. But the problem is there's 2 pit potentials out of Leviathan with the lasso. And of course, the combo as well, making it very difficult to play these mid-game positions out. The Affliction's gone out onto Hoot. So 100% hit ratio so far here for Demov. And Hoot's just going to be flown away to safety. No chance to pick him off. They have gained control around the urn, more importantly.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll be carrying that one away. Leviathan in hot pursuits. Although we'll have to give that pursuit up here and maybe just like sit on the urn spot. They still actually have the Guardian up due to Leviathan on that left side lane, which I suppose does really sort of signify in another sense how ahead they are at the moment. Sion is going to make its way across, and it definitely looks like Leviathan are going to try to put the stoppage on this one.
Yeah, and we've talked before on the Abrahams. Buffingers have been teams that contested from what we've seen. Good little melee comes to the captain, and he gets the dunk right in their faces as well. Lures them in for potentially a fight, and Zergy gets sniped out of the sky in the mid. Nox Nostra. Overseas gets a double, and a third in for Freemok. Buffingers trying to get the dunk, gets shut down, and Leviathan continue to grow their lead even further.
That was crazy. Explosive play there from Leviathan. Everything coming together at the right moment. Now they're going to go from one good fight into a mid-boss. That's going to be absolutely horrendous if you're Buff Enjoyers. I think it's going to start dropping before they can get the entire roster up, even though the respawns are pretty quick at this point. A 16.5 minute mid-boss is quite the statement here for Leviathan, and they're going to be getting all these crystals, I think, for free, more or less. There goes a concussive combustion. That's going to be able to help them to secure all of these rejuves, and I mean, there's going to be more kills off the back of this one. Buff Enjoyers, I mean, this is a very difficult lead to play against for them.
It's definitely a test, a true test for their team here. 20k down now with the rejuves in the hand of Leviathan. But if any team can do it, let's be honest, Dan, it definitely can be Buff Enjoyers. Trying to go for the chase down Obikim. He said he's had a rough game, and it might continue to get even rougher. Slice and Dice up in 4 seconds of time. Airdrop being used, and Obikim will fly away to safety? Question mark? Okay, no barrel going to connect, and Obikim will get away here, but it feels so tough. Look how aggressive Captain's being here on this left-hand side jungle. 3.9k HP, almost 18 minutes in. Veilwalker on top of this. That wasn't already scary enough of being the Mo-Show. The fact that you can do it from stealth now means it's even harder to play away from your team if you're Buff Enjoyers.
Yeah, so many good tools there. I love the slowing hex. I mean, slowing hex is such a value item, especially on Mo, where you really like value getting all that spirit power up as well. Just very, very dangerous stuff. And
Let's go to Broadway.
I don't know, man. This is a really strong lead for Leviathan over Buff Enjoyers. I don't know what the move is for Buff Enjoyers to bring themselves back into this one. Right now, they have the entire map playing against them. Oh man, Overkim's getting caught there. What a lasso coming on through. There's no escape from this one. Stoneform is going to come out, but it's just not nearly enough there. And yeah, the entire map is against Buff Enjoyers.
Oh, Dan, they have Veilwalkers on not just Captain, on Irizumi as well. You're never going to see these picks coming. Slowing Hex used on top of this, trying to get Cosmetical out of position. A parry comes in, really well done at Cosmetical, actually, to leech away one of these rejuves and escape to safety under the Walker. But safety, how long is that going to last? Zergy Noxnosh, you can hear going in over the top, trying to keep them away from the Walker. In the meantime, the right-hand side is being pushed down by Empty Dreams, trying to get this Walker down, but he's getting stunned up left, right, and center, potentially losing out on a second rejuve. The melees have been good here for Hoot. The parry's not so good for Empty Dreams as he turns it around. Concussive Combustion coming on out. Concussive Combustion, I can't get my words out. And Hoot will fall, but I don't think he's going to get much more than this, as the team has rotated over to help him out and keep him alive.
We've got the Tank Buster coming out there as well. I saw for Captain. But yeah, looking really, really nice here for Leviathan. All they have to ensure that they do is don't play, overconfident here. Just ensure that you can keep expressing the advantage of this lead, keep growing it. And they are doing that, skirmishing across the entire map. Finally, towards the 20-minute mark, that left side Guardian, Leviathan still had up.
Yeah.
Finally went down. So yeah, now the mid walker is getting low, under constant pressure. You've got the right side of the map as well. That walker is going to be under pressure very shortly as well. So this is pressure all over the map constantly. It never stops here coming in from Leviathan.
Huge value too. I mean, they kept one rejuve this entire time, as it does just fade away here in a second. But they got 2 walkers off of this. They got a couple more kills as well. They're still maintaining their lead of 22k now. Spirit Burn's being picked up by Overseas and D-Mob. So the item is not dead for Pocket. And the Urn and the Rift on the left side of the map, and Buff Enjoyers have to push into this. You have to make sure. I don't know what you do. Does Buff Enjoyers get on top of this Rift, get the comeback mechanics, and Leviathan back away because there's no reason to fight them on it? Do you let them take it, then fight them after? Well, there's no chance because D-Mob immediately gets exploded on. I'm not sure how that catch was caught. And Captain also aggressive and deep in enemy territory. This could be a big throw. If Buff Enjoyers get the catch on a Captain, they might be able to see themselves get a Walker.
Yeah, it's interesting. Typically, you just don't see the team that's ahead like this ever challenge there. And they had the opportunity to keep pressuring the right side. There's opportunities to do other stuff of value, but like you say, they are now on the back foot a little bit as this Urn is being carried across to the right side of the map, and that left walker has to be kind of cleaned up and handled. So at this point, you're now probably giving away the Urn as well, as that's that Rift previously. And okay, forward position for Fremok might be in trouble here. Look how many players are surrounding Fremok. It's the entire team.
Let's take out Ivy. I see Ivy.
He's got a lot of money to spend too. Knockdown being used. Still continue to go for the catch, slice away, trying to get towards the safety of the open arms of Mo and Krill, and Captain will be there to help keep them away. They're looking for catches. I mean, 15k isn't that big of a lead for Leviathan, or a detriment here for Buff Enjoyers to come back on. Let's actually see what's being picked up here. Spirit Snatch for Listic. Tank Buster still being picked up here for Zergy. Huntazora. Anything else that stands out for you here? Because, I mean, the double Spirit Snatch out of Buff Enjoyers is quite deadly. Like, that's a lot of Spirit Resist you're going to be losing out on. And Zergy can just pop you like a balloon.
Yeah, nothing too crazy standing out for me other than that. I think Leviathan, they captured both buffs here, so still looking to press the advantage, but the soul differential has cleaned up a little bit. 15k deficit now, so that's a small recovery from Buff Enjoyers. I think that Rift fight for sure. I think that was a problem, just like you mentioned, at least for Leviathan's sake. And now a couple kills, being caught there by Buff Enjoyers, and the mid boss is coming up in a minute 30, and the game feels like it's entering more of an even state here. Now we get the siege onto the Leviathan mid walker.
There's a lot of ultimates up here for Buff Enjoyers, a lot of big ones. Chain Gang in particular is where my eyes are going to be locked. If they can get a catch. The lasso is up and available. We're going to let this walker go. I think that's going to be smart here. You don't want to lose any more players, especially as you pointed out, mid boss coming up in just a minute now. And Buff Enjoyers, they pull the lead to 9k after being down 22k. It's only a 9k difference just a few minutes later. I think that again is a real test, or is like a testament to how good they are. It doesn't matter how far behind they are. They will look for opportunities to get back into the game, and they will punish you for the mistakes you're making.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It just takes that one mistake, and I think you just keep thinking about that Rift fight. That was the only fight that's gone poorly for Leviathan. Is where, of course, Buffenjoy's had all the comeback resists in that particular fight. It's why actually you never see that fight get taken.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Dan. Do you notice what we have? Our lovely production keeping improving the show. We have a total counter now for Golden Statue buffs, 118 to 99. And I also think, if I'm not mistaken, we have at least one more new addition when it comes to live player damage. Is that ready to go? I saw a picture of it. I don't know if it's actually ready. There it is. Oh, this is actually happening right now in this fight. Oh, this is so sick. 1K already out of overseas as they get the kill on a who. I didn't know that was actually for fights. We need that up almost every single team fight. Please, production. That is amazing work.
Now we've got the mid-boss coming as well. I mean, will there be a challenge from Buffenjoyers? I mean, it's a tough one. They've, of course, lost Hoot, but they still have tools to work with here, but it looks like it's somewhat of a bait. Leviathan pulling back out right now. Of course, they've got lots of tools to find picks, so would love to turn this into another pick and then into a guaranteed, confirmed mid-boss.
Yeah, I think Silence learned last week with Abrahams that mid-bosses are risky ahead or behind, unless you feel 100% confident to do so. And I think, yeah, with just that one kill, you don't chance it. The best of one, when you've been in the lead for pretty much the entire game, you don't want to throw it away. And look at this information Rake's gaining. He can see exactly where Empty Dreams is going. I think Nox Nostra was used. They're trying to look for a catch here. Combo's available. Obviously not the ideal target to be listed because he does throw down the chain gang. Affliction catch on the cosmetical. Again, it's just one, but one's still gonna be better than none. And the parry comes through. Captain, the combo up, and it's out. No chance to use it. Buffenjoyers now with the man advantage go on the attack.
A really good position there for Buffenjoyers now. They could very well turn the game around completely off at the back of this one as they fall back onto the objective. This is not a good look for Leviathan right now. Mid-boss down. Rejuve crystals coming. And it's going to be Buffenjoyers that take every single one. And now they just became the sole leaders as well. It just got quickly tied, but that's the first time I think in this game. Yeah, you can see that soul difference. Again, production really on point here. Very, very fast reactions.
It's like they've done this before. No, I love how they keep leveling up the show every single week. Man, this has been a comeback and a half here for Buffenjoyers. The other game looks so rough for them. But the Mo show, has it been canceled? Has it been taken off of air? Captain hasn't had a calm the last game the last fight as he did get caught out. And they're not really able to play around these picks as often anymore. I mean, we did see it come through, obviously getting the kill, just before those fights broke out. But it seems like Buffenjoyers have just more importantly stabilized this game, and now we're ahead 2K themselves.
Yeah, and it does get dangerous because, Geist, as Geist gets deeper into the game, starts to become more of a problem. Zergy obviously is already a problem at 31k. Been doing a fantastic job in this game. Be interesting to see. Well, hold that thought. Maybe I think we're going to get an engagement here potentially. Somewhat of a pursuit around the rift as it's coming up here. A fight into the subway. Good connection off of the charge, and wow, catch onto Irizumi right before the rift here certainly spells problems for Leviathan.
I mean, more importantly, why is Leviathan playing so aggressive on the right-hand side when 3 of their players are busy on the left-hand side of the map where there's no walker, there's no objectives to take, unless you're going for those base guardians. But as we can see, they're not even doing just that. Obviously, with the Rejuves, it's very, very scary to fight them head-to-head 6v6. But they're giving up another walker, and they're gaining nothing for this. Like, look at them on the map. They're nowhere near defending this. I think they're just trying to clear up some jungle before they head back to base, because I think that's where, like, the Buffenjoyers will have a harder time of actually cracking this defense.
I mean, I can see the value of pushing those lanes out really, really far, killing some time, maybe picking up some of the jungle, but it doesn't. I don't know if there's enough time for all of that.
Oh, this is your moment. Affliction's up. Counter spelled out completely. Hits absolutely nothing. Empty James has to have a little smile, at least on his cheek here, to see that it's not just him. Buffenjoyers are so damn good at dealing with Affliction, though it was kind of predictable with the Majestic League coming on through, but Buffenjoyers can continue to fight now without anyone affected by that Affliction. They have the advantage.
Yeah, looking really, really good here. I mean, Rejuve first finally will go down, but the soul advantage is starting to get pretty crazy. The waves are crashing in on the right side as well as we get more potential kills coming out. Hoot with the charge locks down Empty Dreams. Snipe there. That's going to bring down another rejuve, but still one more to go.
Hey, maybe there's some stain potential here. I think they're going to lose their shrines, but Buff Enjoyers have to be very careful. Zergi's very low, though. Obviously has the rejuve for safety. Ballistic doesn't, though. He's below half HP. And they get a catch again? Irizumi back-to-back catches on him. Gonna fall another time, and Buff Enjoyers are going to continue to hold, let's say, hold W and keep fighting. But do they really feel that confident? Because that was just 2 people to defend. What a snipe with the pause.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay. Interesting situation. I mean, this is looking really bad, though, for the Leviathan side. What's really interesting, Jason, I was wondering to myself, I'm curious what you think. I was looking at that Rift fight that went poorly for Leviathan. I was thinking that was kind of the turning point. I think it's fair to say that it was. But my question is, do you think that it was going to happen anyway?
You want my real answer or you want my caster answer?
What's your real answer?
I mean, my real answer, it's Buff Enjoyers. I will never count them out of a match. But my caster answer is, I mean, you kind of, at this level of play, it's not necessarily about who plays the best. I feel like it's more about who makes the least amount of mistakes and who capitalizes on those mistakes the best, especially in a best of one. Because we saw D-Mov get caught out. I think I was at the Rift fight you're talking about. And from that, they had no chance to defend that one. And then, like, we saw Captain get caught out in mid. And then they had no chance to defend anything or like go for mid boss. Yeah. And look, I like this picture in picture. Little mistakes like that get capitalized by Buff Enjoyers. And then that causes them to get back in the game. And you just can't do that if you want to beat the best team in the world.
Where are the kills at? If we can look at the kills whilst Jason's talking.
You don't get a chance. Because we're going right back into the game here. The snipe came on through. It pushed Ballistic out. And it looks like they will retreat away. Zergi's not here. They will get the stage 1 patron, but the swing in the last 3 to 5 minutes of time, it feels like it's been like a 30k swing for Buff Enjoyers.
Yeah, they're in such a good spot. And again, you know, it's a big problem is just how fast some of the carries have gotten as well. You know, Zergi, 36k, Cosmetical at 32k now as well. And so, you know, they're looking in good shape. Obviously, you know, we've got some competitive stuff here on the side of Leviathan too, but okay, we're trying to chase Zergi away. Happy to leave.
Yeah, I think it was smart by Buff Enjoyers to just all get out because they knew the chase would happen. They knew Leviathan would just run after them to try to get a pick or two, try to get a man advantage back for themselves.
Don't got any support
and
nearby.
yeah, Fremok, he's kind of deep here. This obviously have the safety of Empty Dreams to the left-hand side, but potentially Zergi and Cosmetical looking for him. And again, like we talk about the pick potential, like there is 2 Veil Walkers. There's a Holiday, there's a Mo. But they're not really grouped to make these picks happen unless they just somehow instantly get that kill. Oh my god, that Phantom Strike. The rescue beam, no way.
Nox starts to chase down. No escape there for Empty Dreams. Zergi's going to die for it, though, thanks to Overseas. And kind of seeing some of that anti-Mina play out of Overseas, but Affliction on everybody there. That's the problem there for Buff Enjoyers. Okay, maybe there's a chance here for Leviathan in this fight, especially if Fremok can get in here with some of those slice and dices, but Steamov takes down Hoot, and suddenly things not looking so great, actually, for the Buff Enjoyers side in this one. Some of the buffs are up. Minute to the mid-boss.
Enter the shadows to dodge away from the lasso. Drake still on the retreat. Fremok just trying to survive, but the health is taken away. What did he just heal from? What happened? The Radiant Regeneration somehow getting them extra HP, but it doesn't matter. Listic still cleans up the kill, and even though the Affliction hit 4, it didn't really matter. Buff Enjoyers keeping the man advantage for themselves. I expect this to go way worse for Buff Enjoyers, but they waited out the Affliction. They were able to sustain past it. And Leviathan, without Fremok and without Empty Dreams, I guess you have to depend on Overseas to hit the snipes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it kind of feels like. And I mean, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of power on the Leviathan field right now as the gets kind of stolen away all the way over to the deposit spot. It's going to be maybe, I don't know, they can't really be contested here. Jimmy will be making his presence on that lane, but not really anything to do about this. More souls going the way of Buff Enjoyers. Be interesting to see the soul graph actually, because I feel like, you know, Leviathan have actually recovered a little bit, but I don't know. Am I accurate in saying that?
I think the lead hasn't really exploded.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think after like a last affliction, obviously the comeback mechanics, they're able to kind of keep here. But Irazumi's been caught out again. Irazumi just can't get the dash where he needs. Rescue beam comes on through, might be enough to keep him alive, but they're in full retreat here, just trying to survive. A chain gang not quite up yet here for Listic, and they do get away though. Is Demov is so lucky.
Be careful here, Jason. The mid boss is actually spawned right now, so this could potentially be disastrous. Demov goes down. Had the affliction, that would have been very useful for this mid boss. That seems like it's going to absolutely go the way of Buff Enjoyers now. There's nothing that Leviathan can do to stop it.
I don't think there's much they can do to win this game anymore here for Leviathan. They've lost out on two of their biggest players that they're going to need for this one. It comes down to just Leviathan throwing in players to try to steal away these regions. But the thing is, minions are pushing their base, man. If you lose this fight, if you can't keep everyone alive, you're going to lose overall. And the regions go straight the way here. Buff Enjoyers, the concussive combustion, it gets the stuns, but it's not going to get the kills here. And Buff Enjoyers will skate by the skin of their teeth here, pull this one back from the brink of a loss, and get advanced on through here into our money matchup against Abrahams once again.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. But you're right, Jason, it is happening once again. You just can't put these guys down. Buff Enjoyers with the win over Leviathan, even though honestly it wasn't looking likely for the first half of the game.
Well met.
What a great recovery by Buff Enjoyers. Fantastic stuff from them around that 22-minute mark to be able to get that rerouted and get themselves back into that money match. Jason, how are your channel points looking? Did you end up?
I played the double reversey, and I actually bet on Buff. No, I didn't. I lost all my points.
Oh, okay, it's over for you. But
I've lost every prediction I've done on this channel, and this is why I don't gamble. I just lose.
That's fair. But because I'm in Poland, I'm not even allowed to gamble channel points. It's not a thing. I'm not allowed
No
to
way.
Yeah.
But it's fake
crazy.
though.
I know. Anyway, oh well, maybe one day that'd be nice. But I would have put them on Buff Enjoyers, that's for sure. After seeing that kind of performance coming out, I had no doubt in my mind that they were going to take it, even though the earlier game was looking quite difficult. But Dan, looking at how Buff Enjoyers have played this out, what impressed you the most? Because I think overall this was a brilliant recovery.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because they were getting constantly pressured. There was an advantage that was being just built against them, just that kept growing with time, and it didn't really seem like they could get a foot in on it. And then we had that Rift battle where they were able to play with resists, and it seemed to be the case that at that point, even though they were losing, the whole map was being pushed against them the whole time. There's constant invades. It seems like they held on enough to have enough of a soul disparity that wasn't too great that they could actually respond and get into that mid game where Geist is more powerful, Zergi was more powerful, and they was able to just take control of the map away. And we started to see how the roster, or rather the draft, we started to see the power of it, and then you started to also see Irazumi and Captain, they became less effective, I think, in terms of some of the constant picking, which was a large part as to why Leviathan, I think, got ahead. It seemed to be the case that Captain and Irazumi just lost, the power.
I think that's what's going to happen when you inevitably have Buff Enjoyers start to group. The pick potential, the combo's gone at that point. Once Buff Enjoyers start grouping up as a team, combo's just going to net you your own death, not anyone else on the enemy side. So you have to depend on the lasso. And I hate to say it, but Demov getting caught out a couple times. Right there we saw on the Rift. At the very end, we saw around mid-boss before they finished off the game. It did unfortunately cost Leviathan a lot of the ground that they did gain in this game.
Yeah, there were moments where it was single target afflictions having to be forced out for Demov because he got himself in some precarious spots, right? And because of that, I mean, technically it takes it away from, having way more value down the line. Even in this clip that you can see right here, right? Demov was forced to pop the affliction on Oberkim as he was very low and getting away from that fight. And as Buff Enjoyers were able to reroute down the line, the problem is that when the reroute happens, Dan, that's when someone like Billy is really coming into his own, because he's one of the most stalwart heroes in the entire game and never really falls off. So Listic was looking fantastic on the Billy towards the end.
Can we see that clip again of Listic catching out Demov if we have the power to do so? Because I was literally just giving like some crap to D-Mob that getting caught out now twice like that in this game really cost him a lot. But I didn't notice he gets bashed down towards mid pit, and then he struggles to get. Oh, here we go. Production. Oh, okay. I thought it was the clip. I was like, damn production. But I didn't realize that happened, and that's why he got caught out, and that's what inevitably at the end did give the game to Buff and Jars. But the soul graph, you wanted to see it earlier on, Dan, and wow, look how long Leviathan had the lead.
That's crazy. It really is pretty wild how effectively Buff and Joyce has kind of held on and just like waited for their time in the match. Again, I think like you said, Jason, there's really not many that could do it. I mean, maybe Abraham's, but I honestly actually put it more in Buff and Joy's camp to be able to come back in that fashion.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Jason, as well, in the sense that, it's the double Veil Walker, the picks and all that stuff. Technically, when Leviathan had the lead, they had a lot of map control, right? And even those Veil Walkers kind of pushed that even further, like the threat of them just being around. But as you say, as soon as Buff and Joyce was able to group up, get some of those bigger team fights, it felt like they had the reins of it all.
Yeah, and I think it's, again, a testament to this team, to the composure, to be down 22K with Rejuice on the side of Leviathan and not give up, knowing that your comp is going to scale. The power that Leviathan have will fall off of their pick potential, and you will outlast them. You just have to stay alive, and you have to keep going, and that's exactly what they did, and that's why they're the best team in the world in my eyes.
Super strong resilience, because I mean, if like 50-minute mark, Hoot was on like 0-3, 0-4, Cosmetical was on 0-5, Oberkin was on 0-4, right? So all of the components of Buff and Joyous, or quite a few of them, they were hurting for a good while in that game there, Dan. But as you say, once they were able to group up, get things going, and look really strong from there on out. And we even saw the Spirit Burn coming out from Zergy, so it's really kind of still sticking around here at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it's not that bad, and I mean, I'm really excited to see kind of what happens in these next matches, because honestly, I don't know that there's any. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but are there any other teams that are actually making Mina work to the extent that Zergy is? Because he made Mina look really, really good in this game, I think.
Good question. I'm looking through my documents because it's not as common elsewhere. It really, I mean, last week, right, it was all Zergy, right? Buff and Joy is going up against Abrahams as well in those last two games. So, yeah, it's not easy to make work here, Jason.
You stop stroking your beard and making me jealous that this is all I can grow, and you have this glorious beard in front of you. I don't know who we agreed on, by the way, MVP is in this game.
I
honestly don't know.
I'm of the same mind of you as you, where like we were looking at what Leviathan was doing, and I was like, gosh, they're having so many great individual moments, and then all of a sudden the turnaround happens. But we're giving it to Mina Zergy. I mean, there was a lot of damage done, and I think a lot of impactful damage came towards kind of those important fights around that midpoint where it did actually have that turn there, Dan.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's the ability for a good Mina player to stay active throughout the entire game and just being a constant threat that was really important, because Zergy was able to offer that damage and that roam potential, and did it actually very well in the lane as well. We saw Zergy was really winning this lane. But Zergy's like so efficient with farming as well, in addition to the roaming and the pressure and finding the objectives and everything. Like he kind of just does everything, and I think one of the reasons why I wanted to mention, are we seeing, Minas elsewhere kind of perform to this level, is because Zergy is such an interesting character for Buff and Joyous, because it feels like he's never prioritized very heavily at all, like if at all, with his picks, but he'll pick up stuff that people aren't really playing and then just dominate with it, and so you get way more value out of your draft because of Zergy.
Yeah, a little extra value from Resto Locket as well coming in since this minor patch, as obviously that was able to push a little bit further. Some Resto Locket, I think, was on Mina as well as Hoot. Hoot was able to take it too. My question to you, Jason, is will we ever see a real picture of Mina ever again, or is this now Mina forever?
I think it's Mina forever.
Okay.
But honestly, it's an upgrade, right? Like, clearly it's an upgrade. It's not a downgrade. You're saying like it's a bad thing. Like, oh, are we stuck with this Mina? No, we're blessed with this Mina.
I'll go with it. I agree. It's OCs on Melee Creeps played Mina last week as well.
Until you cosplay as Mina, then that will be our Mina.
We all know who I'm going to cosplay as. Come on, let's be real.
Mina with a beard, but I can get behind that.
The thing is that if I ever do cosplay Kelvin, the idea of carrying a ginormous stone on my back is going to be a very big problem. Like, I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, Dan. That's impossible.
But
I feel confident. I feel confident.
Go ahead. No, Dan. I got something to burn him with. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, I don't get in the way.
Okay. But if that stone is some like Warhammer model that you painted, I'm pretty sure you could carry that thing even if it was like 200 kilos on your back.
They're tiny. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. It's not heavy at all. Okay, yeah.
Dan, he literally always has these around him. I went to EWC with him once. We were there for like a week or 2 weeks, and he brought his entire painting kit to paint in his hotel room.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Thank you.
He's a good painter, though. I'll give him that. He's a good painter.
Yeah. I'm gonna do commissions soon. Yeah.
You gotta have hobbies, especially when you're traveling. You gotta have the hobbies. You gotta bring them with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna. All right, well, here's the bracket then. This is my hobby. Checking in on where we're at right now for the Deadlock night shift, as we've got ourselves the confirmed Buff Enjoyers versus Abrahams in a best of 3. So, as is tradition, as is a lot of times, we're going to be running it back again here, Jason. And I'm excited for it because there were some quite interesting challenges and developments in the last draft that we had between these two teams. Never mind what might go on now with this patch.
And also paired in with the fact that these two teams have not had a 2-mapper best of 3 in like over a month means we're going to have some exciting games here between these two. I honestly don't know who's going to win. I think Hoot being back kind of gives the edge to Abraham or to Buff Enjoyers in my head. But man, Shark last week, MVP performance for sure. I'm hoping that he can replicate that performance today because it's nice to see him have a little bit more like freedom in his picks and be more impactful in his picks in particular, doing more like damage rolls.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at this game, I do think Cosmetical had a very quiet Geist game compared to normal Dan, and I think that maybe Arzo in the draft will challenge for that because it's still, as much as there were tiny buffs, debuffs here and there, I still think it's got a lot of power, and I think they'll be challenging.
Yep, that just highlighted the power of Zergy, like, and why the Mina pick was so important because you know the Geist is susceptible to like a heavy ganking team, and that's kind of what happens. So Cosmetical is kind of nerfed, so all the more power to Zergy.
All right, well, I think we'll be ready for a break here before we get into our best of 3. So without further ado, we'll go to that, and when we return, best of 3 Buff Enjoyers versus Abrahams. You don't want to miss it.